Hey guys, here we have 1.2 evaluating variable expressions. So let's hop right into it. So if you remember doing order of operations, that is PEMDAS, okay? Parentheses come first, then exponents. Multiplying and dividing can actually come in either order, but you just want to go left to right. And then adding and subtracting can come in either order as you see them left to right, okay? After, of course, everything before them. Okay, so I see no parentheses, but I see an exponent, 4 squared. So I'm going to leave the 3 and the times symbol alone, but that 4 squared, which is 4 times 4, is actually now a 16, and the minus 10 stays. So we've taken care of parentheses, no more exponents. We do now have multiplying, so 3 times 16. I'm going to plug that into my calculator real quick. 3 times 16. That is 48 minus 10. And then do the subtraction to get 38 as the final answer. Okay? For the next one, we do have parentheses, so leave everything else alone. But 6 minus 3 is 3. That's all I did. I rewrote everything, and I didn't try to do multiple things at once, because that's how you make mistakes. So took care of the parentheses. We're on to exponents now. 3 to the second power. Again, leave the 5, the plus, the 2 alone. This is now 9. I'm going to keep the parentheses though, to keep it separate from the 2. So if you remember, when you have a number squished up against another number, like so, there is an imaginary multiplication symbol. There's like a little dot telling us to multiply the 2 and the 9 together. So we do have multiplication. So again, leave the 5 and the plus sign alone. 2 times 9 is 18. And last, now we're done with all this. Now we're on to adding. So 5 plus 18 is 23. Okay, the next one. No parentheses, no exponents. Cool. We're going to go right to multiplying or divide. We see division, so we do take care of that first. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Leave everything else alone. And we have only adding subtracting left, so we're going to go left to right. So 9 plus 2 is 11. And 11 minus 2 is 9. And all done. Let's take a look at this one. No parentheses, exponents, but we do have multiplying and dividing, so go left to right. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Leave everything else alone. 3 times 2 is 6. And now we can add the 6 and the 2 together to get 8. And this is the last one. We should do multiply these two together first to get 18. Next we should divide these two together to get, again, this is like a negative 28 divided by 7, so this is a negative 3. Now we can add to get 22. I'm writing pretty big and going, but that's fine. And that should be 19. Okay. We have a couple definitions here. Variable is just sort of a letter used to represent an unknown. Okay. A constant is usually just a number that does not have a variable. Okay. variable expression is pretty much just, I'm going to keep it simple. If you see math without an equal sign, okay? If you see like math on paper and you don't see that equal sign, then that's just an expression. If you saw the equal sign, then it would be an equation. And coefficient is a number in front of a variable. Okay? Sorry if I'm going a little bit faster than normal. I am trying to keep these videos not too long, so if you need more time, always feel free to pause the video. So here we go. 3y. Do we have a coefficient? Well, coefficient is a number in front of a variable, so we do. We have this 3. That is the coefficient. How about here? Well, we don't see a number, but if there's a y there, there's always like an invisible number. It's, well, how many y's is this? Is this 0 y's? No. This is still technically 1 y. There's still technically a 1 in front of that y. So 1 would be the coefficient. All right, let's go on to the last page here. So sometimes we have these expressions. Again, we have math. We have x, y. We have y minus x, 2x plus 3y, y minus 5x. We have all this math here with no equations. These are then expressions, okay? We can still evaluate them by substituting, by plugging in numbers. So if they want us to plug in x equals -2 and y equals 4 for all of these variables, then we can evaluate them. So when I plug in, I like to plug in with parentheses, okay? So this x, I'm going to use a parenthesis and plug in this -2 for that x. So now we have a -2 here. It replaced the x. We have no x anymore. Likewise, we have a 4 here that's going to replace the y. And I'm going to also plug that in with parentheses. So we had xy, now we have -2 and 4, which they're squished together means they're being multiplied together. So -2 times 4 is actually -8. And there we go, we evaluated it. For this next one, the y comes first, so I'm going to plug in the 4 first for this y here. We have a minus sign, so keep that. And then we plug in this -2 in for the x. So the x is now being plugged in with a -2. So we have 4 minus -2. If you remember, a lot of teachers in junior high might have said KFC. KFC, kind of the restaurant, yes, but it's also keep, flip, change, meaning keep this 4 positive, flip this, meaning make it a add, not a minus, and then change this from a negative to a +2. So we kept this positive, we flipped this sign, changed the sign of that number 2. So not 4 minus -2, but it's really 4 plus a +2. So what is 4 plus +2? That is actually 6. There you have it. Okay. Same thing. Plug in with parentheses. Okay. Notice how after I plug in, we have no more variables, right? We had xy. Now there's no more xy. We had a y and an x. Now when you plug in, there's no more y's or x's because we plugged in for them. They're not there anymore. Substitute, right? Like a substitute teacher. If I'm Mr. Kenny, your math teacher, and I get sick and you have a substitute, I am not there anymore, right? There's no point of substituting if I'm still around. So just like the variables, they get replaced. So they are gone. So here, numbers stay, the coefficients stay. So 2 is right here, but the x is now a -2. I'm going to plug in with a parenthesis, plus the 3 is the coefficient that stays because we're only plugging in for the variables. The coefficients or constants stay. So the y is now 4. Plug it in with the parenthesis. And now evaluate, just like the first page. I see multiplication here, multiplication there. So 2 times -2 is -4. We have this plus sign here. We can also multiply these together to get 3 times 4, which is 12. Now we can do this last step of adding. -4 plus 12, I believe, is +8. Okay? You know, a smart thing right now actually might be to pause the video and try to do this one on your own. So you can do that if you want. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. Plug in 4 for the y. Keep this minus sign. Keep the 5. And then replace the x with the -2. Nothing to do here yet. We have to take care of this 5 times -2. So we have to take care of this part first. Leave the 4. I'm going to lose the parentheses because, you know, you look at it, there's not really need for the parentheses here. Here, we have to have the parentheses to remind ourselves that these are squished together. This is not 52. This is 5 times, you know, -2. We do have to account for this minus sign, so that's a -5 times a -2, giving a +10. And now we add 4 plus 10 is 14. Okay. We have one more evaluating here. We have decimals. They're going to pop up. We're in high school now. Probably going to see decimals more often than you did in junior high. So same idea. Keep any numbers, leave them alone. Replace the letters, replace this A with a 2.1. I plug in with a parenthesis. Keep this -6 here alone. Keep this -4 there, but instead of -4b, it's -4 times this 7.3. Plug that in with a parenthesis. Okay. I'm going to take care of my multiplication. So this 2 times 2.1 is 4.2. I'll leave the -6 alone. And then -4 times 7.2, I believe, is -28.8. And I'm just going to go across. I'm going to take 4.2 minus 6 minus 28.8. Once you have all adding, subtracting, you can kind of just go down the line. I'm cool with it if you just want to plug that into a calculator. But you still want to have work shown. Minus 30.6 is the final answer. Okay. And with that, I believe we are actually going to skip this last word problem for right now. Might come back to that or just have more word problem practice later. So with that, you are free to head over to MathXL and check out what we got. See you next time.